Good morning, one and all, and welcome back to Red's Homestead. I've been looking forward to this day for quite some time. I'm going to get a crossbow today. Unfortunately, today will be a costly day, but it's a budgeted costly day. I put out, well, I was going to do about 300 on the crossbow, but I found one. Well, I didn't find one. My neighbor found one. Brief background, my neighbor. He knows more than I'll probably ever know in my lifetime about crossbows. So I asked him to see if he could find me one. Originally I was going to buy his, but he has like the professional, never have to upgrade it again in my life, crossbow that he does competition shooting with. I don't quite need that yet. I don't even know if I'm any good at shooting a crossbow. I've never shot one before, but I know that I haven't gotten very comfortable with my compound bow, so I'm going to try crossbow because I know I'm comfortable with a deer rifle. That's going to be closer to it. So I budgeted about $300 for the crossbow, and I think I might be right on target because the one that he found is going to be about $240, and then that gives me a little bit of extra money to get some extra bolts for it. And money is extremely tight for probably just like everybody else in America right now. I can justify this because of the cost of meat. I imagine I can pay this bow off in one season. If I can get 2 deer, maybe 60 pounds of meat a piece, 120 pounds. If you look at cost of beef, hell, I can only have to get $2 a pound for the venison, and that'll pay off the bow versus what I'd have to buy to supplement some kind of red meat. It was either this or I'd buy a cow. And I'm thinking this is a little less extreme. I'll tell you, these morning chores have become so streamlined that for the animals that we have, which is, I don't quite remember how many, but we're gonna say 5 rabbits, 20-ish chickens, and 4 ducks. 15 minutes max, and well, 30 minutes if you include the time you have to wait to drain the pool over there. Which, yeah, usually we drain it at night and then fill it in the morning and clean it. They're trying to run me over. But yeah, I would say maybe in total 15 minutes to take care of them all, especially since since the chicks are now grown up a little bit more. All their feed's outside. We do have one little feeder on the inside that hardly gets refilled, but we ferment 1 bucket, and that's what she's standing in right there. And that seems to cover pretty much all the animals on the outside. That's what, a 1 gallon bucket, I think? 1 gallon bucket fermented, which goes a lot more, goes a lot longer, I should say. Then you just have 2 pails and a bucket and a pail of water over there. And then what we have decided to do is, if you look on the Fluffy Butt Hut, that water right there, we've elevated it off the ground so the ducks can't make it as messy, and the chickens can have free access to cleaner water that's not been utterly destroyed by ducks. I say really though, the hardest thing and the longest thing is just cleaning that pool. That pool, you know, gets dirty every single day. So, so that's the only thing that takes forever. Other than that, it's like easy. The rabbit's down there, 30 seconds. I pull it and hardly ever have to give them feed. I just make sure their water is full, and that's it. But something else that makes today exciting, well, not really exciting because it's going to be a hefty bill. We're getting our bulk feed, or at least I'm going to order it today, because we're about 2 weeks away, guys, from our biggest animal purchase yet, our shipment. 52 meat birds coming in, which is going to cost me about 1,200 pounds a feed. So here's a little science nature lesson for you. So what happens here is a female wasp will lay her eggs inside this tomato hornworm. And then what happens is the larva will actually eat the insides of the caterpillar. And as they come out, they'll spin this cocoon that you see on top of the caterpillar's skin. And eventually they will hatch into new wasps, and the weakened caterpillar will just slowly die. Nature is brutal, let me tell you. It can be beautiful like a sunflower, but it can be brutal like a parasitic wasp eating the insides, making a cocoon on your skin, and then leaving you to die. Don't kill me. So we're back here the next morning. Yes, I know, it's the next morning. Didn't do much of anything else yesterday except for the crossbow, and I did some training. So let me just show you a few things from yesterday. I went ahead, got the crossbow, took it to my neighbors, got it all sighted in. You can look at that good looking man right there, taking care of it. And then once we got it all sighted in, then we just hung out for a bit. And there is something here in Georgia, to acquire your hunting license, you have to take like a safety course, but it's not just a safety course. It's a kind of just an overall education. It's like 8 hours long, but it's required to be able to get your license. You only have to do it once. So that's what I spent the rest of my time yesterday doing, was taking this online course. And it was actually really interesting, and I'm glad they do it. Because it takes you through basically every single component and mechanism of a firearm, and it goes into bows, muskets, how to hunt, you know, kind of your basics, but I think it's like a really good thing to do. Now I'll show the crossbow a little bit later. My kids definitely want to see it fired, so we're gonna go ahead and do that a little bit. Right now we're harvesting, and this is probably my favorite plant for peppers. So this is a Tabasco plant. And all these little yellow things right here are all Tabasco peppers. It's just the coolest looking pepper plant that I think that we have. And also today, I'm gonna make some hot sauce. I'm absolutely obsessed with hot sauce. I put it on everything. I wanna try to make my own. I have some habaneros. I think I have some chilies in there, jalapenos. And we're gonna see what we can do.
Gotta show you who's boss. Yes. Yes, I do.
Oh, that's a sweet girl. You're a sweet girl. Hi.
See, those that I had like the silver fox mix in them are very hard to grab at a scruff of the neck, especially in the back of a cage. They don't really have one. So let's try to scoop them. And they're usually pretty good without scratching you. Sometimes they'll get me, but I don't know about you guys that have kids that might be starting school again. Well, holy smokes, school supplies. They have gone up to insane prices. My wife is taking the two youngest to go get some shoes. I can't tell you how much money we've already spent just for this year. It's getting insane. There you go, Mr. Mars. So for making hot sauce, I don't really have a specific plan in place. Everything that I read about hot sauce is kind of the experimentation in the kitchen until you figure out something you like. So that's kind of what I'm gonna do. One of them I'm thinking is gonna be tomato based. So this was an attempt of kind of pickled cherry tomatoes. I didn't like them. But I'm wondering if that would make for a good base for a hot sauce. Whenever you're dealing with super hot peppers like these, wear gloves, people. The last thing you want to do is get those hot, spicy juices and rub your eye. Whew, that'll burn. So we have each batch of peppers separated 2 equal bowls. One's gonna have the tomatoes with the pickle and the vinegar and all that mixture, and then maybe a little bit extra vinegar. The other one's just gonna have apple cider vinegar added to it. What I'm gonna be doing is boiling them and then boiling them for probably a good 30 minutes until they're soft enough to actually blend. We've had it boiling now for about 30 minutes. I'm gonna try to blend it with an immersion blender first, and then maybe seeing to use an actual blender after the fact. See, that's super spicy, then you can get that hint of, ooh, that is spicy. That hint of tomato on the background of it. It's really good. So a great example of how we do not follow the gender stereotypical roles. I'm in the kitchen cooking. She's out mowing. Although I wish I was. I love that mower. So I'm way out here marking off the yardage so I can get that 20 to 25 and 30 yard shot set up accurately. So as promised, crossbow demonstration. You can see way down there, I've got my target. I've got it marked off at 20 yards and 30 yards, which is how I'm gonna be marking them at when I get my tree stand set up. So that's what I'm gonna get comfortable with. And I don't like to shoot with the quiver on. When I go, I'll probably have this sitting in a backpack because it just feels like it gets in the way.